I should start that again. Hello, my name is Malcolm Sparks. I'm from JUXT from the UK, and there are a few of us over, and it's our first time at the Dutch Clojure Days 2017. As you all might know, 2017 has been officially decreed the year of ClojureScript on the server, and in commemoration of that august event, I'm going to be talking about a little thing that we've created called Mach. Now, Mach is a rewrite of the venerable make build system. Can you put your hand up if you've used make or make files? So everybody. And I love make, and I've been using it for years too, and I use it for all kinds of stuff, tons of stuff. What I really like about make is dependency trees, the fact that you create your build out of a tree. I also love the fact it's so fast, and it does incremental builds, which have somehow fallen out of fashion these days with continuous integration and so on, but I really like incremental builds. And hands up if you compile your kernel every morning before you go to it. You probably, all of us are, with a few exceptions, are incrementally building stuff all the time, and it works, and it's fine. There are some bad parts about make. Tabs. The fact that it works very great it works great for C projects and for certain things, for Java projects and for things with hierarchies, it's not so good. It's also great for processing files if your files happen to be lines of text, but it's not so good if you're processing JSON trees and things like that. I'm going to put the font up so you can... Is that better? Yeah, great. So make the ugly parts. A lot of my make files end up looking a bit like that, which is kind of a problem that kind of gets very, very awkward to do anything. I don't know if you've ever had to do this sort of stuff. Adding two numbers together. By make, I'm also meaning kind of all its family of friends like awk and sed. And here's some sed that's actually in the Yada project. Yes, there is some sed in the Yada source tree, and this is how I use it. And when I'm kind of writing sed, I'm always thinking, why am I writing in sed? It's always different kinds of rules that we have to learn. This is a thing that Don just sent me. I can't really put the font up because it's an image, but it's all the things that you have to bear in mind if you're touching all the files in a directory. And if you're a bit skeptical that UNIX is awesome, then read that and you'll find out why. So how do you add two numbers together in a make file? Anyone know? I mean, I don't really know, but this is what I do. I shell out to a UNIX utility called expr. So how do you add two numbers together in Clojure? Does anyone know? It's a bit like that. Okay, you don't really have to think about it because it's natural for us. So wouldn't it be awesome if we can do all the stuff in Perl and sed and awk, but use ClojureScript? And so that's what Mach is all about. Mach is a DSL, thanks to James for pointing that out. I didn't realize, but it is. It's transparent. A Mach file is just a map, and here are the keys, which allows Mach to know what the keys are. And this is a simple Mach file that does a hello world, and this is how you invoke it on the command line. There is this idea in Mach rules that you have values can also be maps. And in this map rule, I've declared a product to be called foo.jar. There's a dependency system, so you can create dependency build trees. There's this concept of novelty, which is where you say whether there's anything new, whether your target is fresh or whether it's stale. And if it is stale, how it's stale. And then having calculated how it's stale, which files are out of date, or whatever it is, you can then feed that staleness to an update rule. And this is what will get called if your target is deemed stale. And that's all it is. There is to it. It's going to be a bit more extensible, but pretty much that's all there is. There is a slight deviation from the way make works in that I've added this concept called verbs. And often when I'm using make, I have to add a new target if I want to clean a particular file that I've produced. And I find it a kind of a bit of annoyance. So with Mach, you can actually have these verbs that you can add. One of the built-in ones is called clean, which will clean it for you. And there are also things like force build this target, even if it's already fresh. I want you to force it, and watching that this will come soon. And also when you are debugging and developing something and you want the target to spew its content out to the console while you're debugging it, there's a verb called print. Okay, it's built on Lumo, which is built on Node.js, so you have access to, if you can't do what you want to do in ClojureScript or Clojars, there are 250,000 packages that you can use. If you're ever stuck with a string and you need to pad it by a few spaces, yes, you can bring in LPAD. Or you might choose to do LPAD in ClojureScript. So this is what I wrote here. This is, okay, we've got some LPAD. This is a little bit of ClojureScript in a slide, courtesy of an awesome tool called Clips. Can't really have time to talk about Clips, but... Okay, works with another JUXT library called Aero. So what we did was, Aero is our config library in Clojure. We ported it completely to ClojureScript in order for us to consume it with Mach scripts, which means that we've been able to create huge systems in configuration and then use that configuration to drive the development of documentation, infrastructure as code, Terraform JSON, all sorts of funky things, all with scripting. And it's in use today, but only internally. And I use Mach for all sorts of things now that I used to use Make for, including building this presentation. So I'll give a quick demo. Okay, Can anyone think of a terminal? Think of Xterm as the old one. Just trying to think if I can get a middle that's You see that? Not really. And it's funny because the actual font is set to huge. So you might see that if you don't worry, I'm not going to show anything interesting. But that's how. You should just be able to see a blur. This is how quick Lumo launches. So this is a whole ClojureScript environment that you can launch. Has everybody seen Lumo? Played with it? There's another project called Plank, which I should give a mention to, which does much the same thing, but it's based on WebKit. Okay, so let's. Just going to run this Mach. So that's how fast it works. It's about 2 seconds. It's not blisteringly fast, but it's fast enough, which is what I think is a game changer. Being able to write ClojureScript scripts that are in 2 seconds is a big advantage. I'm going to touch the Mach file source code and then run it again. We have a problem of building a presentation. We're solving that problem with Docker, of course, because Docker, as Bill reminds us, is the solution to all problems. And the presentation is built. So I'll switch back. Something with bigger fonts. The state is very experimental right now. John and I and others are still hacking on it actively. The upstream versions of Lumo are changing very, very quickly. Lots of funky stuff happening in ClojureScript. But hopefully it will stabilize fairly soon. We're putting an extension mechanism in it which allows us to bring in any Clojars libraries that you've got in ClojureScript. You can bring those in and use them in your scripts. So that's it. I'm done, and thank you very much.